Welcome to the College Football Bros. I'm Michael Newman.
I'm Ryan Newman.
And I'm Trey Newman.
All right, we are on to the Big Ten in our quarterback rankings week. Be sure to subscribe because we'll be doing an episode for every conference this week, of course, and then a national ranking as well. But Ryan, let's get into your projected starters for the Big Ten, and we will start with number 14, unfortunately, Payton Thorne of Michigan State.
Yeah, sorry, Sparty fans. It's a tough spot. So Payton Thorne, leader in the clubhouse, maybe at this point. It's between him and Anthony Russo, the Temple transfer. We'll see. There's been good things said about Anthony Russo on camp as well. So Mel Tucker kind of seems to like him. Says he's got a lot of potential there, but he didn't prove it on the field at Temple. He threw quite a few picks there. So I'm going to say it's Payton Thorne, but we only saw him. Not a ton, and when we did, he kind of struggled. He did have one good game against Penn State, but it's just in a tough spot. It don't have a ton of supporting cast around him. Now it just seems like between him, Anthony Russo, not a lot of talent. I'm not confident in this QB group right here, so I had to put him dead last.
Yep, and we'll go to number 13, Ryan Hilinski from Northwestern. They're going the transfer route again.
Yeah, they're hoping to they strike gold again with like they did last year. But I don't know
if they struck gold at quarterback, but
Peyton Ramsey was pretty
he was
good.
Serviceable.
No, I know.
I mean, okay, struck gold by Northwestern standards.
Considering what Johnson the year before.
Yes, compared to Hunter Johnson, yes. Maybe I'm being harsh, but I felt like it was more of a defensive effort. But no, you're right.
Platinum compared to Hunter Johnson.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm wrong.
All right, Hunter Johnson's still there. But it's going to be Hilinski. It seems like. So we'll see if they can. I don't think he can. Ryan Hilinski can replicate what Peyton Ramsey did, though. I just don't think that Hilinski. He was in a tough spot there at South Carolina, but he just wasn't very good. His numbers were really, really bad. I know, even accounting for the tough situation he was in. So, with going to Northwestern, where you're not going to have any help, just seems tough. So, it's going to be a very poor offense, and I don't think he's going to make it much better.
All right, number 12, Brandon Peters from Illinois. Feels like he's been in our lives forever, dating back to Michigan as well.
He has been around a while. But if you just look overall at his career, 53% career passer, 6.4 yards attempt. He's just not very good. The only real positive about him is he just doesn't throw many picks. So he has a pretty solid TD to interception ratio, which I'll take it if you're some folks, right? But just doesn't have very many explosive plays. Yet he actually has if you don't have explosive plays, you better have a high completion percentage. But he doesn't have explosive plays, and he's got a very low completion percentage. Not a good combo there. So I'll give him credit. He did take Illinois to a bowl game a couple years back, but I think that's going to be the high point.
All right, number 11. This one might raise some eyebrows.
Yeah.
Graham Mertz of Wisconsin.
Yeah. Raising my brow there.
I like that, right? Yeah.
Well, after the first game, of course, that Friday night, the first game of the year for them, he just was perfect practically against Illinois, and we're like, uh-oh, Wisconsin looks legit. After that, he was terrible. Like, he was just, the last 5 games of the year, he threw just 2 touchdown passes and 5 picks and just averaged well under 200 yards per game. They couldn't really, they just couldn't throw. I know it's not always the QB's fault, but he was not good, and he held them back, that offense, last year. So I know they had some struggle times with COVID and whatnot, but he really struggled, man. So I'm not confident that he's all of a sudden just going to have a huge leap when, you saw him out there quite a bit. So, I mean, I have him 11. It's not like I'm dead last, but he played almost like a dead last kid the last 5 games of the year.
Wow. All right. Wisconsin fans watching, don't worry. I don't know if Trey will, but I'm going to give him an earful at the end of this when Trey and I give our thoughts on this ranking. But number 10.
How do you justify his last 5 games?
We're going to get to it. I've got to keep the people, I got to get that watch time up. Stick around, folks. Wisconsin fans. I want to get to it. A little teaser. Number 10, Cade McNamara at Michigan.
Yes, he's in a battle with most likely going to be Alan Bowman, the Texas Tech transfer. So I'm not sure who's going to win that battle yet. But from Cade McNamara, he had one good game against Rutgers, and it's Rutgers. They were better. Rutgers was better, but still not great. He threw but it wasn't even like a great game actually. He threw for 260 and 4 touchdowns, but it was just like 7.2 yards per attempt. It wasn't like he was just crushing them. I mean, it was a good game. And then the next week against Penn State, he was just terrible, like absolutely bad. So, I'm not sure which one he is. I think he's obviously, of course, those are two extremes, so he's going to be somewhere in the middle. But I'm just not super confident on him and what we've seen from that Michigan offense that he's all of a sudden just going to take a massive jump. I think he's going to be all right, but hard to have a lot of confidence there.
I'm just going to step in here right now. The floor for Michigan's quarterback play is Alan Bowman. So I think
and he can't stay
healthy.
So
okay, fair.
And Alan Bowman was, also doing it at Texas Tech, Big 12, going to Michigan, tougher spot.
Okay,
not sure.
Yeah,
we thought Shea Patterson was going to come in and just absolutely crush it at Michigan, and he was good, but Alan Bowman doesn't have the pedigree that Shea Patterson did.
Okay.
Shut you down there, man.
All right. So, well, I'm saving. I don't want to argue throughout the whole list here. I'm going to save it for the end.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a lot of quarterbacks.
Right. So, yeah. All right. So number 9, we're going to Iowa, and it's Spencer Petras.
Yep.
What do you think?
A very inconsistent year here for Petras. He had, but I really thought, given the talent around him, he probably should have been better. Just a 57% completion percentage and just 9 touchdowns in 8 games. So he kind of did hold him back. And the defense was really good, kind of saved him. But I will say towards the end of the year, he was getting better. So hopefully that was some signs to come for this following year for Iowa fans. But if he was just decent last year, that team could have gone undefeated and played in the Big Ten title game, because they had a couple of very, very close losses their first 2 games, and then they won out after that. So, we'll see. I don't think he's great, and I don't think he's going to take some massive leap, but we've seen steady improvement from Iowa quarterbacks in the past.
Okay, number 8, going to Rutgers, we have Noah Vedral, the former Nebraska quarterback.
Yeah,
and former UCF quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. He's moved around a little bit. He may have not necessarily had the best stats this past year, but he was clearly made them a better offense. Had a couple of good games in there, and obviously there wasn't a whole bunch of talent for him to work with. I'm kind of confident with he's got a kind of a dual threat, so he can kind of beat you both ways there. And I just think we'll see the offense take a little step forward, and I think he'll be a big part of that. I think he's just kind of a solid guy that's plays the system pretty well and plays to his strengths.
Okay, moving on to number 7, Tua's brother, Taulia Tagovailoa from Maryland.
Yeah, so he played 4 games.
Say that really fast.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, he played 4 games last year. 2 were really good, 2 were really bad.
Yeah,
he ended up with 7 TDs, 7 picks. So he was just like complete, high and low.
Polar opposites.
Yeah, exactly. 62% completion percentage, and I do think that experience is going to really serve him well that he gained from last year. And I honestly think he will improve quite a bit. He had like those good moments. I think he's going to be able to at least channel at least more of those. And maybe Maryland as a program will be a little more stable with him kind of being the guy. Because I think he's got the talent, and he's got some running ability to him as well. I think he's a good passer as well. I think he doesn't have insane supporting cast, but I think he's going to be pretty solid for him this year.
Okay. Number 6 is Sean Clifford of Penn State. I think Penn State fans might be happy if he lives up to the number 6 ranking.
I hear where Penn State fans are coming from. I feel like he's been getting a little too much gripe than he probably has deserved in his career. He certainly had his ups and downs. I ain't going to deny that. But if you look at his numbers overall, he hasn't been bad. 41 touchdowns to 16 picks. That's not bad. 60% completion percentage, over 8 yards per attempt. So, and he showed he has at least a little bit of wheels. So, he doesn't do well with the deep ball. A little bit inconsistent passing, but he did lead into an 11-win season a couple years back, and then last year, everything, it was a terrible storm for Penn State as a group last year. So, I think he is a pretty effective quarterback. Now, is he going to lead them to a Big Ten title and carry them? No, but you got a pretty high floor with Sean Clifford.
All right, moving on to number 5, Jeff Brom's boy, Jack Plummer at Purdue.
Yeah. This is he's not guaranteed to be the guy. You got Aiden O'Connell also kind of waiting in the wings, but I feel like Plummer will be the guy. And I might have him higher than some folks, but he was very solid in the few appearances we saw from him last year, and then even the year before, where he was kind of forced to play a ton after some injuries. He showed some good things. So he had good touchdown to interception ratio, good pass per yards per attempt, and I just feel like also under Brom, he seems to always produce good quarterbacks, good QB play, even in tough circumstances where he's losing guys left and right. So I really feel like with the weapons they have at a receiver, he's got some decent guys to throw to. I think he's going to have a pretty darn good statistical year. They might not win a bunch of games, but because their defense is terrible, but they'll put up some points.
Yeah, it just feels like Purdue's been snake bit the last couple of years, just with injuries, and they just need some consistency. I could see. I like Brom as well, so I could see Plummer having a big year, whoever starts there.
Yeah.
Moving on to number 4, Adrian Martinez of Nebraska. And Ryan, the YouTube viewers, you can't hide because you're wearing a Nebraska shirt right now, and you have Martinez pretty high here. What's the deal there?
I think this is just more of a testament to the weakness of the conference of QBs than it is just Martinez is good. I mean, he's tough to rank. He really is, because his best year, of course, was his freshman year. But that year he had a couple of decent weapons to throw to and a decent running back, so it wasn't all on his shoulders. Last couple of years, totally not the case. Just had nobody to throw to. Arguably the worst receivers in the conference, and O-line was terrible too. So I think he's a pretty decent quarterback that's been made to look a lot worse than he is because of what he's had to deal with them around him. It's just been a poop show, so to say the least. So,
yeah. Every time I go back and look at Adrian Martinez's numbers, they're not as bad as I remember.
Yeah,
as frustrated as he is to watch.
And this spring,
he does get a lot of yards out of his.
And this spring, he looked a little thinner. He looked quicker.
Okay.
No, he really did. Okay. If you watch, he actually lost some weight and was like, okay, he kind of looks like the.
No, I did.
Go back to his freshman year speed.
Like, he's but we'll see. Once the season gets going, things change.
Yeah, once they lose a couple. No. All right. Number 3, Tanner Morgan of Minnesota. And a couple years ago, man, people had him near number 1, and
yeah, they did.
You can go into what happened to him.
Another guy that kind of regressed, right? But I think a decent amount of that for Tanner Morgan, of course, was just contributing to the weaponry that he didn't quite have. Losing a guy like Tyler Johnson is a pretty big deal, and of course Rashawn Bateman.
Yeah.
So lose both of those guys, and you're definitely not going to put up the same stats. But he's been there a while. He's been there for 3 years, 46 touchdowns, 18 picks, over 9 yards per attempt. I mean, that 1 year was huge, but he's clearly a solid quarterback. Is he going to be a game changer? No, because he's can't really beat you on the ground that much either. But if he's got a decent team around him, we've obviously seen him be really, really good. So you got a good floor here with Tanner Morgan. He's going to be a solid quarterback. So I think Minnesota's got to feel pretty good with him.
Okay, number 2 is Michael Penix from, I have written down here, Minnesota. I don't think that's right. I think he's at Indiana, Ryan.
Oh, did I put Minnesota?
I wrote that. I wrote that. You didn't write it, so don't worry. I messed up.
Penix, good when healthy. 14 picks, or 14 touchdowns, 4 picks last year. Not a super high yards per attempt, and his completion percentage dropped quite a bit. He was just 56 this past year. So I've kind of had all my worries about him, but he's a gamer. He's shown in big time moments. He's played pretty well. So I think the key for him is just staying healthy. I'm kind of banking on that. If he is healthy, then he's good. He's got dual threat ability. He led his team to a couple of good years, so I'll give him credit for that. Leading Indiana to couple of bowl games is pretty darn impressive. So I'm giving him credit for pulling off some wins, and even if it's in some dramatic fashions, some of them.
Yeah. All right. So number 1 has to be a Buckeye, of course. And then we got CJ Stroud.
Yep. He's in a battle. Of course, we're trying to replace Justin Fields here. Kyle McCord also there. I do think Stroud will be the guy. I think could end up being the most talented quarterback in the conference. I mean, it's, hey, from the group I just mentioned, I ain't saying that much. But it's hard to put a guy at number 1 that hasn't even played a whole bunch. But I mean, he's a highly recruited guy, great talent. Obviously, the talent around him is better than anybody will have else in the conference. Good coaching. We know the success that multiple Ohio State quarterbacks have had in a row now. So I think it would just be dumb not to put CJ Stroud number 1, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone, we want you to let us know your thoughts in the comments, but I feel like, are we past the time where people are making comments like, how can you put that guy number 1? He's never even, thrown a pass in college football. And it's just like, at Alabama, at
Clemson.
Ohio State, at Clemson, it doesn't matter. They just come in, the next guy, and he's great. And under Ryan Day, I don't see why we wouldn't expect whoever the quarterback is going to be to look great, put up big numbers. He's got Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave to throw to. I know that's, it's a good
maybe
situation to develop a quarterback. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and if you're going to go that route, it's like, what, okay, go ahead and stick him at number 14. But like, if you had to bet, you had your money on the line, you're going to say that Stroud is like going to be in the top couple
and also
here.
He was arguably the highest recruited guy. I didn't go through all the recruiting rankings of all these players, but I mean, he was a highly recruited guy. So he's got the pedigree, talent. So it's just, he's going to put up big numbers.
Yeah. Now, what I will say, go ahead, Mike.
No, yeah. What's your disagreement here, Trey?
Well, no, I mean, I think that just kind of also speaks to the fact, though, about we do have a totally unproven guy at number 1. Not saying he doesn't deserve it. He, of course, deserves it, and the system and talent around him will allow him to be number 1. But there's just so many other questions with those other guys. Like, I was just shocked for how good the Big Ten has been to have such a kind of a pretty weak slate of quarterbacks. I mean, there's some guys that are like, they're very average and good, but like not a lot of game changers in that list.
No, this is a
when I'm
awful list.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's bad.
It's pretty dismal. Now, as far as like kind of some disagreements, I know Michael. I'm not gonna touch on. Michael has something to say about Mertz. The only thing I would say is maybe the McNamara, Allen Bowman, Michigan. I don't think Bowman's all that bad, even if he ends up being the guy. Like, I could see him kind of more in the middle. I mean, it's not like I'm putting him at number 4 or anything, sure. But Mertz was surprising to me. But he is. I'll let Michael kind of speak more on Mertz, I think.
All right, here we go. So that is my biggest disagreement is even that pair, McNamara and Mertz, behind a couple of the guys that they are. So Mertz, I know he struggled last year, but it was his first year starting. Jack Cohn got injured like not too long before the season, so freshman thrown in there, and they had you saw the first game was great. Then they had COVID issues, major COVID issues. Receivers were in and out, so he did not have his full receiving core the whole year. I just think it was not a great situation for him. He's got you talk about pedigree with CJ Stroud. Graham Mertz was a very highly recruited player. So I think with a full off season where he is the starter, and there's going to be, I just think Wisconsin, I just kind of write off last year a little bit overall. It just was kind of an off year. I don't know. I think just on potential alone, you got to put him ahead. Like Spencer Petras. What did Spencer Petras do last year? Like, he wasn't good. I mean, maybe he'll improve, but he was bad last year. Like you said yourself, he's holding back the offense. And at least with Mertz, I see that potential to explode. I don't see that with a guy like Spencer Petras. Sorry, Spencer Petras, but I like saying your name.
I think Petras was better than Mertz last year, and I do think Petras will improve. It was his first.
Barely, maybe. I don't know.
I thought he was better, but anyways.
Okay. All right. Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm fired up right now.
This is one where I felt like there was a lot of wiggle room. I feel like you could really throw away a bunch of these guys. Like, they're so close. There's so many of them. It's not good.
That's
they're all not great. So There's just no clear tiers.
No, to your credit, Ryan, I would not. I don't want to rank this conference like that. It's very difficult.
Yeah,
it's a tough list.
No,
there.
There's after, I guess, Penix at 2, arguably Morgan if he has a bounce back. It's a kind of a nightmare to rank.
Total crapshoot.
But yeah, I would have had Mertz and McNamara higher.
And that's I could see that. I could see them above Vedral and Petras or something. I could see that for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. There you have it, Big Ten. Thanks a lot for listening. We're going to be back tomorrow. Trey is going to rank the Pac-12. And then it'll be my turn to do the SEC after that. So, Ryan, you can yell at me. I got in your face a little bit there. I got a little excited. My inner Wisconsin fan apparently came out. I hope the Badgers appreciate it. Let me know in the comments, Badger fans, if you appreciate my passion. But we will see you tomorrow.
You've been watching the College Football Bros. Be sure to subscribe here on YouTube and in your podcast app for college football content all year round. For bonus episodes and access to our Discord chat, join our Patreon at patreon.com/collegefootballbros. Thanks for watching.